All right, so how do we set up our very first Facebook ad? You might be thinking, I don't even know what I would run an ad for. I don't know why I would need to know a Facebook ad. So I wanted to just spend 30 seconds to a minute explaining why it could be important for you. So even if you don't have anything to advertise yet or to market yet, we're going to think about the whole goal for me in particular with this course is to teach people how to know the tools that, for example, you could go to a clinic and say, hey, if you ever need help doing your social media, I know how to run Facebook ads. I can generate leads through Facebook ads. I can hopefully get patients through the door with Facebook ads. That's what I want you to be able to say and feel confident doing, that if they were to say, yes, we want you to run one tomorrow, do it, that you have a tutorial on how to do it. So I'm going to walk you through two separate ads. One's going to be about content. One's going to be about actually leading someone to a sales funnel page. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive in, and we are going to walk through how you do a Facebook ad. So we're in. As you can see, I am on my Facebook page. And what we're going to do first, and I know that there's been a little bit of an issue sometimes that if you don't have an ads manager, what you end up doing is if you end up clicking in the search bar, just ads manager, you will be able to create an account. And that's all you have to do is create an ad manager account. And then you're in, and you'll eventually see this on your Explore tab down here. It says Ads Manager, and you're ready to rock and roll. So in we go. We're gonna dive into Ads Manager. Before we get into the actual platform, I want to take a second to show you. So first we need to know, what is it that we want to run an ad for? And if you're in the boat where you're thinking, I don't know what I'd want to run an ad for, imagine that your business or your company or your clinic had something that, they wanted to bring in more customers, right? So we could create a piece of content or a page that explains to someone why they should come into the clinic, right? Maybe it's a discount. We've seen Alex present to us before an offer, right, for the weight loss or body composition assessment that they put together. And so you give someone an offer, a discount, right? His was an incredibly discounted offer that leads someone in. And now we're going to talk about just some different things. So for example, for me, I host a podcast, and to be honest, I've never run ads for content to try to promote my podcast, but you definitely could. And so I'm actually going to do that to show you an example. The other might be to lead someone to a page to generate a sale. So for example, I'm going to walk you through two separate scenarios. So for one, back in, I don't even remember when, months ago, I interviewed this really awesome girl. Her name is Jocelyn Panita, and she created the scholarship system. It's essentially a course that walks you through how to get scholarships, and they have a Facebook group, and she does one-on-one tutoring. It's actually a really cool program. She actually went to school for free. She has helped students get over a total of almost $650,000 in scholarship money. And her student average is $7,000 in scholarship money, which it costs I think the course costs $600 or $800. So you think about $7,000 back for paying $600. It's a pretty good return on investment. So one of the great things about hosting a podcast is she actually gave me an affiliate link to be a part of her course, to promote her course if I wanted to. So I'm going to walk you through. So in this case, we're going to do two examples. One is going to be about just creating an ad to lead people to this episode. So they're going to land on this page, the Breaking Student Debt blog and podcast page, to this episode to get them to listen to this episode. So that's going to be my primary target. It's just that people come here and they click. Now down below I have the episode, right? And so someone can play that. And then even further down, a little bit of show notes. And then, I think I made a different version of this page where you can come down and watch a little video about her if you want to. It's only 2.5 minutes long to keep someone, maybe doesn't have the time to listen to a 40-minute podcast. And then I have a link to her affiliate webinar. So how affiliate links work is if someone clicks on this link, they go to the webinar and they end up signing up for her course after watching the webinar. That counts as me being the referral, and I get a small commission off of that sale. There's a lot of things that I'm still not 100% sure on, stating that something is an affiliate. Typically I try to, although if it leads someone to a free webinar, I don't always say that it's my affiliate link because you're just leading someone to a free resource. But that could be a topic for another day. So this is one page that I'm going to lead someone to. Ultimately, my goal with this is that people actually click and listen to my podcast. So how I'm going to track this, I'm actually not going to track this through my Facebook pixel. I could make one, but for me, I'm just going to kind of track my downloads of this episode after I start running this ad. That's how I plan on tracking it. So then I'm going to run another ad that's going to lead people directly to her webinar sign-up page. So this is the other page I'm going to lead them to. This is my affiliate link that's going to lead them to this page. And then if they sign up for her webinar through this, they are automatically considered my referral, and I would get a commission if anyone decided to sign up for the course after. So a little bit of strategy here, 2 different ads that I'm going to run to lead them to these 2 different pages. So let's go back to Facebook. Dive in here. So when you're in Facebook and we want to start a new ad, just from the very basics, here's what we're going to do. We're going to click Create Ad. So when you want to create your first Facebook ad, it's always going to bring you to this page. And it's going to give you options. And so when I first saw this page, I was intimidated. I had no idea which one of these I should pick. But I just want to explain a little bit about each of these. So the way that Facebook works, from what I've been able to understand and learn from other people, and Alex and we talk back and forth about this stuff, is Facebook's algorithm is going to show your ad to people who do these certain activities. So for example, brand awareness means it's going to put your ad in front of as many eyeballs as possible. Same with reach, right? Both of them are essentially, I'm sure there's a small difference. So brand awareness is probably going to be able to try to associate things. So if, like, in my wording, I use the word student debt, it's probably going to try to find other ads or groups that do student debt and try to put it in front of those people who follow those groups or pages, or who have interest in those things. Reach is just as many eyeballs as possible. So that is something that, if you're really interested in getting in front of 10 million people, right, that's the one you would go for. It's going to go to as many different people as possible. So then we have traffic. Traffic means clicking a link, right? So essentially, traffic in the old school sense meant lead to a website. So if you're thinking about, I want someone to land on my website, we would do traffic. So that's something that you can think about, and we'll talk through kind of the choices I'm going to make as I go through these ads. Then you have engagement, right? So that means what Facebook is going to do. Here's the crazy thing about Facebook. It knows through data how often you and I click on websites from Facebook. It knows how often we comment, how often we share, how often we like things. And all of that, for example, those last 3, comments, shares, likes, that counts as engagement. And so it's only going to want to put your ad in front of people who actually take those actions frequently. So say, for example, someone who's kind of a lurker and never engages, your ad likely isn't going to get in front of that person. So they might be an ideal person, but if they don't engage on it and we choose engagement, they're likely, it's likely not going to show up in front of them. So engagement's a really cool one because you have the opportunity for people to organically share. So for me personally, I always kind of stick between these 2, traffic and engagement. We'll talk about conversions later and how it does all this. For now, we're going to look at primarily traffic and engagement. Other things you can do are video views, app installs. I'm just going to assume that, no one here is running an app. Maybe if Dave Kittle is on here, he has an app. For now, I'm just going to kind of skip that one. I've honestly never played with that one. So if someone has, great, love a tutorial on it. But otherwise, video views, exactly what it sounds. People who watch video, it's going to go in front of those people. Lead generation is essentially how we would track using Facebook, the Facebook pixel, for example, that would take someone to a opt-in page, right? So essentially it kind of goes with traffic. It just takes it maybe a little bit further, right? So instead of just getting someone to go to a website, like for example, my podcast page doesn't have an opt-in form on that page. So that would just purely be traffic. Now, if I had an opt-in page, I may want to optimize it for lead generation, right? I want someone to give me their email address or contact information. And then vice versa, conversions, for example, is not only do I want them to come to my website, not only do I want them to opt in, I want them to actually buy a product or sign up for a service. And as we dive more into specifically how to set up our pixels in ad campaigns, we will be able to track this all as it unfolds. So those are going to be lessons to come. For now, just kind of giving a brief overview of how to set up your first ad. So if you are enjoying this at this point, please give a like or a love or share this with someone who you think could use this. We're about to dive into how to actually do the technical steps of how to create your first Facebook ad. So again, if you like this, love it, find this useful, please drop a like or a love or share it. Just helps us get this, keep this up at the front of the page, and that way people can use it and see it, and essentially get people trying this stuff out. So product, catalog, sales, store visits, we won't go over. We'll get into those maybe down the road. So what I'm going to do is, for example, let's do the one, I want to lead them to my podcast page, right? So what I'm going to do is I just want traffic. Nope, I lied. You know what? I'm going to go for engagement. I'm kind of hoping people will share it. So let's see. I'm going to click engagement, which leads us to this page. It says, get more people to see and engage with your post or page. Engagement can include comments, shares, likes, event responses, and offer claims. So what am I looking for? I don't really care about page likes or event response. I'm looking for post engagements. I'm looking for people to comment and share. So I'm going to click continue. So now we are into the meat and potatoes of Facebook ads. So you can come up at the top, and the first thing we can do is name our ad. So I'm going to name this Jocelyn Panita, let's see, blog post FB engagement ad. Kind of a long name, but we're going to roll with it. So I don't usually mess with these things. It says some of these have already been auto-filled. You know what? And I think we can be able to dive into it a little bit more as we go. I don't usually mess with this. If you want to, you're welcome to reset everything and start from scratch, which honestly I've never had to do. So I guess that just gives you an insight that I've never had to do that. And here's where we go. We can create a new audience. If you have one saved, at this point, let's assume we haven't run ads, so we don't have an audience saved. But if you did and your pixel's installed, we could start to, create audiences, right? People who have liked my page, right? That could be an audience. People who have opted into a certain form, that could be the audience that I've gathered through my Facebook pixel. So really cool targeting stuff that we can do. So what we're going to do is, it says you can create a lookalike audience from your page. So for me in this case, I don't want to target people who already like my page because I'm guessing they've already seen it. It's something that you could do. It's not a bad strategy. I'm just going to show you how I would do this if I wanted to reach more and new people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new audience, and I'm going to come down and start in locations. So I'm not going to fill this out because I don't have a custom audience to add or a lookalike audience to add. Again, that's for a later day. We'll dive into some of those things that we can do. So let's see. I'm going to go in the United States because I think that's where student loan is most prevalent. I could do the UK. For this example, we're just going to do the US. But just to show you, we could type in, like, for example, New Zealand. I could get all of New Zealand. Or let's say, I live in Pittsburgh. I could just narrow this down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can even narrow it down to, let's say Snellville, Georgia, which is where I was born, which is a city of, all of probably like 20,000 people. I don't know. So you can get very, very targeted. And what you can do is we're going to go, so if we were to choose a small area, so let's, actually what I'm going to do real quick before I do US, is we are going to do, let's say Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And what it does is you narrow down to smaller regions, right? You can set a map of how far you want this to go. So I could do just within the city limits, or I could set it to 50 miles away from where, my address is, or 10 miles close to my address. Sometimes you can even get it closer, down to a mile. I think it just depends on certain things. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure of, but that's kind of how you can do. So you can also exclude places if you want to. What I'm going to do is just do the United States. So we're going to add the entire United States. Now, we can set our age limits. So this is really cool. I'm going to go with 18 because they might be interested in student loan debt at 18. Probably not as many people at 18, but they might be. to what I'm going to do, because her ad is about the scholarship system, I'm going to target 18 to, we'll just go to 24-year-olds. Because she does offer some programs for graduate students as well. I'm going to go both men and women. So you could narrow it down, right? So what's really cool over here is it tells you your audience size. So right now, if I were to do all of the United States and I targeted both men and women ages 18 to 24, I could potentially reach 38 million people. So just to see this, if I only wanted to reach men, I'd go down to 19 million people. If I were to do women, also 19 million people. What's interesting though is, and just kind of keeping an eye on this, look at how many more men I could reach per day than women. Interesting. I wonder if that means that men, so engagement's pretty close. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure why more men would be reached than women, but maybe there are more men 18 to 24. I don't know. So I'm going to go with English as my language. I always fill out the language. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure if you need to or not, but I do. And then we can do detailed targeting, right? So here's where it gets really cool. If I wanted to, let's say, you can see some of the things that I've already targeted. So, you know what, I'm actually going to take it back. I'm not going to run this just to 18 to 24-year-olds because I wasn't even thinking about parents. We'll go back. Actually, we'll go back to it. So I'm going to run this to them. And what I'm going to do is, let's see. I'm going to choose an interest like college. I'm also going to do scholarships. So people who have looked for scholarships, who have an interest in scholarship, right? So scholarships.com. Awesome. Cool. So what we could do if we really wanted to, you could exclude people. So we could do, exclude people who behavior-wise, financial, I could eliminate people who only have one line of credit, for example, if I wanted to. You can get kind of specific, almost kind of creepy, but you can get pretty specific, right? So I could exclude all mobile device users by brand. Anyone who uses Apple, I could eliminate. Obviously, I don't want to do that because there's probably tons of people who use Apple, but you get the point. Hopefully, you're seeing some of the things that you can do, and you can play around with all this stuff if you wanted to. You can narrow your audience down further, so they also have to meet a certain criteria, right? Maybe if this were like, I don't know, football specific, right? So they also have to have an interest in football, right? And I could do that, and that narrows down the audience. So right now I'm at a potential of reaching 8.3 million people, which for me is, I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, and I want people to engage on this, right? So if this were just for reach, that number would probably go up. But because Facebook, again, we're doing for engagement, is going to be targeting just people who have a tendency to actually engage on posts. So as we go down, you can add a connection type, which just really means people who like your page, friends who like your page. You could exclude people who you like your page. You can, if you had an app or events, you could also add them. So I'm not going to save the audience. Now, you can edit placements. So what do placements mean? This means that your ads can show up in different places. So they can, let's see if we can just show you real quick. You can put your ads on all devices, which I recommend. If you really want, you could do just mobile phones, so they'd only show up on people's phones. You could do it so they just show up on people's desktops. You can make it so they show up in Facebook feeds. Right, so Facebook and Instagram are together. Facebook owns Instagram, so Instagram puts it on here. So I'm going to run this through my Breaking Student Debt podcast Facebook page, and I have an Instagram for that, so it'll run through both. So you can run it on feeds. You can see instant articles. In-stream videos will pop up. You can have it on the right column. It can come up as a suggested video. Same with Instagram. Stories is not available with the post engagement objective. So interesting. Something I didn't know yet. Maybe it was something else. So in-stream videos pop up. Messenger isn't available for engagement, which makes sense. Cool. So you can, I mean, you can even do it only when someone's connected to Wi-Fi, it could show up. Like there's some just crazy, crazy details that you could get into. I'm just going to go back, and the way I've been doing it is I'm trusting Facebook's algorithm because it's so smart, and it really wants you to succeed, that I just put my trust in it. But let's say you really want to get specific, you could do that. So for this, because I don't really have a massive interest in doing this, I'm going to choose, I'll just show you, you can go as low as $1 a day if you want. And you can see how my reach changes. Now I'm only going to reach 90 to 570 people a day, maybe get 5 to 31 post engagements a day, right? So since we're going to do it, let's do it. We'll put $5 a day down. And you'll see now I can reach a lot more people and hopefully get more post engagements. So you can run your ads continuously, as in there's no end date. Or what I do is I'm going to go for a limited period of time. So let's say a week, right? So the next Thursday at 12:21, that sounds good to me. Oh, that's November. I should go back. No wonder that didn't seem right. Today's Monday. There we go. You got it, Will. You're good. We'll do that. Then you can do some advanced options if you want. You could do, I think you could change it again if you want. Yeah, so I want to go, instead of impressions or daily unique reach, I'm going to go for post engagement still. We're going to dive in on a different video to bid strategy. This is kind of a newer thing with bidding on how you essentially, how your dollar is allocated, but we'll get into that later. I'm going to hide these options. So that's the basic stuff. So this is all of the like financial technical backgrounds of where you want them to go. So at where we're at now at $5 a day with everything that we've set for post engagements, my reach should be 450 to 2,800 people. And hopefully engagement will be somewhere between 24 to 150 post engagements a day. So what has been happening lately is that it will try to make me use an existing post, which is totally fine if you want to. It's essentially a creative way to do a boost of a post, but that's not really something that I want to do. I want to be more specific, so I'm going to create a new ad. And so I'm going to make this under the Breaking Student Debt podcast page, and I'm going to make this under the Instagram account as well. So we've talked about before, video is killing it. Slideshow, also good. Honestly, just for creating our first ad, I'm just going to go with an image. And if you noticed, Alex's his recent ad that he ran for his clinic was just an ad. It was just an image as well. So we're going to stick with an image for this. So we're going to go down full screen experience. We will dive into a different day. It's kind of a newer feature that's come out. Again, we're just thinking about straightforward first ad you've ever run. Get your feet wet, maybe put $1 a day down, just see what happens, right? So I've got an image that I was planning on using, and let's see. Oh, so many things. Boom, right? So here is the picture that I plan on running. And if you want, you can add multiple images. So here's the cool thing about Facebook. It gives you like things to think about. It says this might not reach your audience if you use this image with this much text. So I'm going to get rid of it. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to upload a different image. And let's go. Same thing, too much text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can just find a picture of Jocelyn. And let's see if we can find one that maybe mentions the scholarship system. So we'll just do this. We'll make it super simple. do. Ah, all these are PNGs. Cool. So we'll go back. And you see now that's gone. So hopefully it's good. Not too much text, which is great. And we're going to add some text. So I'm going to say, hey, hey, college dude, hey, college people. No, we'll go, hey, kids and hey, students. We'll do that. I'm going to go this. My name is Will, and I host a podcast about student debt and how to avoid the pitfalls of debt. One of my recent guests, Jocelyn Panetta, has created a system to help people pay for college debt free. This opportunity is only, so actually, you know, I'll explain this later, but we're going to go check out her free webinar on how she's gotten her students over $7,000 in scholarship money on average. Seats are limited for the free webinar and fill up fast. Right? So I totally lied. I realized, you know what I'm going to do, because we only have time and only have so much time, and I've already taken up a lot. We're just going to send them right to the webinar page. And engagement actually works fine, because I'd love for people to comment on it, say, whoa, this is great, and share it. We're going to roll with it. It's also 12:30 a.m. my time, so I apologize, guys. My mind is not working as well as it could. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send learn more. So I'm not going to send them a message, or I don't really want them to send me a message. What I really want them to do is click on this and learn more and engage with it. So ideally, what I'd want them to do probably is to have traffic, right? So this has my, here's what we'll do. I'm going to go find my affiliate link. And if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, drop a comment below like, hey, I'm not familiar with affiliate marketing. Let me, you know, please explain it to me. I'd be happy to break down what affiliate marketing is. It's essentially just commission-based sales in a lot of ways. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put her URL link in here. So I did not set up my pixel. Obviously, you know, that's another step for another day. Just want to show you how we can get this running right now. Interesting. I've never had this. All right. I've never had that before. I agree with that. So guys, this is essentially the first ad. So this is what it's going to look like. Hey students, my name is Will, and I host a podcast about student debt and how to avoid the pitfalls of debt. One of my recent guests has created a system to help pay for college debt free. Check out her free webinar. She's gotten her students over $7,000 salary money an hour. She's running for the free webinar. Fill up fast. So when it comes to copywriting, we always want to address who we're calling out. We want to let them know who we are, why we have some authority in this. We want to let them know what the great thing that we have is. We also want them to know what our amazing offer is. And we want them to know that there's only a fixed amount of time that they can sign up for it. So this is what it's going to look like in someone's news feed. We can scroll through and kind of see what it's going to look like in so someone's feature phone. Here's what's going to look like on the desktop news feed, instant articles. So I didn't really dive into the creation of the most beautiful ad. I just wanted to run through the technical aspects of how to run an ad. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to confirm, and I'm going to let it send off to the world, and we'll let Facebook come back with its approval if it approves this ad or not. So your ad is being reviewed, and it's now in reviewed, and I will make a follow-up video of this to show you if it got approved, if it didn't get approved, and we'll show something. So real quick, we could duplicate the ad. So I'm just going to make this one. We could go through and make more. It looks like my ad got approved, and it's already active and running. Look at that. There you go. So it's active and running. We'll go through a different day. I'll kind of break down this ad as a trial, and we'll go through and talk about kind of things to look for, how to view, if it's working, if it's not working, what people are clicking on. But it's up and it's running, which is cool. We can see charts, check the performance. But essentially, guys, I have an ad that's running. So it's running for $5 a day. It's going to start telling me how many people it's reaching, how much cost per engagement. And if you follow Breaking Student Podcast on Facebook or Instagram, this might pop up in your feed. And you can see that this was the trial run that I did. So I just want to let you know it wasn't the most beautiful ad that we could have made or the most attractive or compelling. That wasn't the goal. The goal was just to walk through how to set up your very first ad. So if you enjoyed this, if you felt like this was valuable, please click below and comment below, hey, I got a lot of value from this, or this was great. If you didn't, send me a message and say, Will, I really wish you could have done this, or I wish you would have done that. Can you talk about this? I'd be happy to break it down with you. I know Alex and I have been geeking out about it a lot. I'll show you some ads that I've been running in a similar way about campaigns. Let's go to campaigns. I'll show you a ad that I've been running to do a similar thing that's been leading people to essentially the same thing, except directly to the course sales page. So this ad's I've been running it to women 40 to 60 years old who have children that are of high school age or in college. I was able to do that through demographics. And we can look at, the amount per click, the result rate's 30%. We'll break it down real quick. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So I don't have enough, it hasn't reached enough people yet to get relevance, but it's kind of cool. Like it's reached 79 people and 31 have engaged. So I ran 6 different versions of this ad with 2 different pictures and 2 different copy. And we'll dive in more to this maybe later. So I wanted to show you guys, I hope that this was beneficial. If it was, please comment below that it was beneficial. If not, send me a message. I'd love to help, target more things. I just wanted to show you the technical aspects of how to run your very first Facebook ad. Thanks so much for being a part of this. So proud to be a member of the Healthcare Digital Marketing Group. And as always, take care.